Hey, this is Mike Matthews from Most for Life and Legion Athletics. And in this video podcast, I want to talk abs. How to get abs. Now, of course, this is something that I have spoken about tangentially in many other podcasts and videos, and I've written about it. But I wanted to put up a quick and simple video podcast that just breaks it down. 3 simple steps. This is all you have to do. If you want to get abs, 3 steps. No matter how much you might have struggled up until now to get abs, 3 simple steps. And they are: 1, you got to lose the belly fat; 2, you got to do compound exercises; and 3, you got to do the right ab and core exercises. If you can just do those 3 things, you can have a six-pack. Everyone can have a six-pack. We can't all have equally aesthetic, equally symmetrical six-packs. Like my abs are staggered, and I kind of have 3 abs on one side and kind of 2 abs on the other side, unfortunately. Is what it is. It's genetics, but I have abs. I have my version of a six-pack. Now, the first step is the most important one, and that is lose the belly fat, because everybody has abs. Everybody has the rectus abdominis muscles, and everybody has the other core muscles that together make that whole six-pack look. They're all there. You just can't see them necessarily because they're covered with too much fat. Now, what many people don't realize, though, is how lean you have to be to really see all of these muscles. And for guys, it's usually around 10%. That's when it really all starts coming together. You can see some abs as high as maybe 15%, but it really depends on how you hold your fat. If you tend to hold a lot of fat in your lower stomach region, which is where a lot of guys do, you might see slight outlines of abs at 15%, but nothing clear and definitive. For most guys, you got to get down to about 10% to just have clear abs, to have that six-pack, to have abs without flexing. And in women, it's usually around 20%. That's really where they start to show. And as you get below 20% for women, and as you get below 10% for men, that's when things really start to get tight and defined. Now, how do you best lose belly fat? Well, I'll link an article up here that breaks it all down, but the long story short is, unfortunately, you can't spot reduce body fat by just doing a bunch of core exercises. Studies have shown this simply doesn't work. So you can do all the crunches you want, and you won't necessarily ever see your abs. What you got to do is reduce your body fat percentage. And that's easy, actually. That's a simple, straightforward solution. If you just work on reducing your body fat percentage, your body is going to pull fat from various areas, and some of it is going to come from your stomach area. Probably not as much as you'd like and not as quickly as you'd like, but if you just focus on reducing your body fat percentage, it will happen. And again, really what you're working toward is, if you're a guy, you work toward 10%. If you're a girl, you work toward 20%. Okay, point number 2, which is do a lot of compound weightlifting. And I would modify that actually and say a lot of heavy compound weightlifting. Now, this is important because there are quite a few people out there, and I've seen them just in the thousands of people that I've worked with over the years, and guys in particular, who they get lean, they get down to about 10% body fat, and yes, they have abs, but on the whole, their cores are rather unimpressive. Their cores look underdeveloped, and that is because they are underdeveloped. There are a number of muscles that need to be highly developed to have that really tight six-pack, well put together look. It's not just the rectus abdominis, which is what most people think of. It's the blockier, it's the abs. You also have other muscles. You have the obliques, you have the transverse abdominis, you have the serratus. All of these muscles need to be well developed to create that really nice looking core. And some people know that, and that's why they do different core exercises. They'll spend 30 minutes doing different types of bends and twists and crunches and so forth. But what many of those people don't know is that heavy compound weightlifting is simply more effective than any of that. And to be specific there, what I mean is compound exercises, so exercises that involve multiple joints, multiple major muscle groups, stuff like the squat, the deadlift, the overhead press, the bench press. Those are the big compound exercises that everybody should be doing, assuming that they can, that they don't have physical injuries or dysfunctions that make it impossible for them to do those movements safely. And by heavy, I mean working with weights that are in the range of about 75 to 85% plus of your 1 rep max, and taking your sets to the point of 1 to 2 reps shy of failure. So this is hard work, and that's what I mean by heavy compound weightlifting. And again, the reason why I am talking about this in the context of abs is research shows that that type of training is generally more effective for training your core muscles than any of the core exercises that you see people doing. And this is why there are quite a few people out there who simply focus on heavy compound weightlifting. You know, they do your traditional type of strength training. Maybe it's a starting strength, or maybe it's my program like Bigger, Leaner, Stronger or Thinner, Leaner, Stronger, which are really just kind of push-pull legs strength training programs with some accessory work. And the men's program has a bit more for the upper body than the lower body. And the women's program has a bit more for the lower body than the upper body. So many people, they'll do that without any additional ab work. They'll get lean and they'll have awesome cores. They'll have awesome six packs. For many people, that's all they need to develop those muscles. Some people, though, need to do a bit more, which brings me to my third point, which is do the right ab and core exercises. So again, this is speaking anecdotally, having worked with thousands of people. I would say it's probably half-half in terms of what people that have reached out to me. So I've seen about half of people out there that really didn't need much in the way of abs or core exercises. All they needed was the heavy compound weightlifting. They got lean and they had awesome cores. And then, you know, for every person that had that experience, there seems to be a person who does the heavy compound weightlifting, gets lean, and still has an underdeveloped core and has to actually program specifically some ab and core work in addition to the heavy compound weightlifting to really get the look that they want. Now, as far as ab and core exercises go, there are many, many hundreds of exercises that you can do, of course. But if you just focus on the following exercises and you focus on progressing on the following exercises, so getting stronger on these exercises over time, you should be able to get to where you want to be. And those exercises are the kneeling cable crunch, the captain's chair leg raise, the hanging leg raise, the air bicycle, the plank, and the ab wheel rollout. And the reason why I like these exercises is they allow you to safely train and overload all of your core muscles, and they don't require much in the way of technical skill, flexibility, or athleticism. So they're simple, they work the muscles that we want to work, and they work. And one other little tip that I want to share is weighted ab work is fantastic if you need to develop your rectus abdominis in particular. And my favorite weighted ab exercise is the kneeling cable crunch. Now, in terms of rep range, I would say anywhere from 10 to 30 reps is fine. And what I like to do personally is I will use a weight that allows me to get 12 to 15 reps, and I'll usually just work with that weight over time until I'm getting about 20 reps, and then I will bump the weight up so I'm back down to the 10 or 12 range and work my way up that way. So that's progressive overload, of course, which is important when you're trying to develop muscles, even if they're smaller muscles. Remember, progressive overload. And in the case of exercises that are not weighted, like the hanging leg raise, for example, which you can weight by snatching a dumbbell in between your feet, but it's kind of awkward. Normally, you just don't do it with any weight. You progress by doing more reps. And when you build yourself a little ab routine, what I personally like to do is start with a weighted exercise, so like a kneeling cable crunch, and then move directly to something that is unweighted, so like a captain's chair leg raise, directly into that, and then finish with one more unweighted, like air bicycles. And so then, of course, you're tracking your progress, and ideally over time, you're going to be going up in weight on the weighted exercise. So, your kneeling cable crunch is going to get stronger, and your reps are going to slowly be going up on your unweighted exercises that you are following your weighted with. And that, of course, altogether is progressive overload. You are forcing your muscles to get stronger and adapting, which is going to show in the way of development. So that's it. That's really it. Those 3 steps. You do those 3 things and just be patient. It's going to take time, and you can develop a great core, period. So I hope you liked the video. I actually kept this one short, hooray. If you did, please do give it a like, and also drop a comment down below. Let me know what you thought and share your experiences with developing your abs. Is there anything that you think that I should have covered, or is there anything that has worked particularly well for you that I didn't talk about? Let us know in the comments. And of course, last but not least, if you want to be notified when my next video goes live, and if you want to make me feel better about myself, then just click the red subscribe button. It's free, and YouTube will let you know when I post the next video. All right, thank you, and I will see you in the next video.